Mallorca Zeitgeist, heute in Cala Lombard zusammen mit Jean-Louis Étienne, einem Explorador, Entdecker, Abenteurer, der so viele Titel hat, dass man fast ohnmächtig wird, wenn man die alle aufzählen muss. Und es wird heute sehr lustig, weil wir werden ein Interview machen, wahrscheinlich auf Englisch, Deutsch und Französisch. Es wird ein bisschen durcheinander, aber manchmal ist das so, wenn man internationale Gäste hat. Und ich habe ein irrsinniges Glück, dass ich heute eben Jean-Louis Étienne hier habe. Der Mann, der so viel zu erzählen hat, dass ich gestern bei den Vorbereitungen fast in Ohnmacht gefallen bin, weil ich gar nicht wusste, womit fange ich an und mit welchen Fragen. So I was just saying that you have so many things that you have lived in your life that after I've checked you on the internet yesterday at your life, that I just didn't know what to ask because there's so many things I want to know. So I thought I'm going to break it down a little bit to your private life and to your passions and not to the scientific things because I would not even understand the answers you would give me. So my question is, I've seen that you have written a book, Inventer sa vie, and that you are an exploration person. Where's your heart?
My heart is in exploration. You know, I was born in the countryside, and I always, when I was young, dreaming about to do expedition. I don't know why.
How old were you when you dreamt that the first time?
For the first time?
Yeah.
When I was 8, I remember I slept outside in a small tent, and when it was raining, when it was snowy, I was dreaming about when I feel the wind, the cold in my face. I was just dreaming, climbing Himalayas, going to the pole. When I was young, well, it was a sort of dream. And then, well, I've been several places as medical school, and then when I was doctor, I decided, well, now it's a time to go in expedition. And this dream became again after 12 years as a doctor in expedition, I started to organize my own one. So the expedition I always present in my life.
At one point, when you were following your dream, you decided that you have to let the world know, especially young people, that they should follow their dreams. And this is why you wrote the book.
Yes, now, well, I do many lectures, and the idea is to say to everyone, if you have a dream, follow the dream. But it is not the easy way.
Yeah.
It's always difficult to keep your dream, and the major thing is to persevere. Persévérance.
Yeah. Voilà. Moi, je l'ai vu ailleurs dans l'internet que c'est un mot très important.
Oui. J'ai réalisé, quand je regarde ma vie, je me rends compte que j'ai résisté. May I speak French?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Good. J'ai résisté à la tentation de l'abandon du projet. Et quand je parle de mes expéditions, on me dit, pour toi c'est facile parce que tu as la passion. Mais la passion, c'est comme le feu. Si on ne met pas le bois, si on ne met pas les bûches, ça s'arrête. Et souvent, les bûches ne sont pas dans le jardin, elles sont des fois très très loin. Et donc, quoi que tu fasses dans ta vie, que tu décides de faire, reste le plus près possible des choses qui t'animent, qui te font rêver.
Yeah, but I don't think passion is enough. I mean, you have to have a tremendous amount of discipline to do what you've done.
Well, it's a job. Yeah, it's a work. It's not just... People ask me, where are you coming from? What's the next? To organize an expedition is a lot of work. To collect people, to collect technical solutions, and to collect money.
Yeah.
That's the harder thing to do.
I want to know because I know from when we met the first time that the path from you becoming a doctor has not been that straight. There was a person who saw something in you and said, I'm going to empower this young man and help him go another way he's doing right now in his profession. And I want to know a little bit about the person. Who was that person who said he has to go to another kind of school and make another career?
Yeah, when I was at the, you say primary school, first school, I was not very interested, you know. And then my idea was to be a carpenter. So I said,
That's so funny.
I like to be a carpenter. I like the wood. I like the smell of the wood. I like everything. And I was working when I was young. I spent many times working on a small piece of wood with a carpenter. And then I went to the technical school to learn as a professional. But it was not, il n'y avait pas la place. It was not room enough. I mean, I don't know. It was not possible to do carpenter. So they said, mechanical school. So I went to the mechanical school. And I started to be interested because when you are in a technical school, mechanical school, you are, people appreciate you on what you are doing with your fingers, with your mind. And then I started to be very interested by mathematics, and I came back je suis revenu dans l'école avec intérêt. And the mathematics teacher said, well, these guys can be something else. So I went he oriented me to the baccalaureate.
High school, no, college or high school?
High school. And I said, what am we doing with this baccalaureate? Never I thought to have the baccalaureate. I said, well, now everything is possible.
What's your family background? What did your parents do?
My father was tailor, making clothing, and my mother was working in a shop selling clothing. Yeah.
Did they ever get to see your success?
They always give me the freedom to do what I want to do. When I said I want to be a carpenter, I said okay. And then one thing is, after the baccalaureate, I decided, well, the idea was what to do, make engineer, architect, and I decided to go at medical school. My father was not happy with that decision.
That is funny.
What to do, he never dreamed about to have a doctor in the family. You know, the doctor, that's other people, the bourgeoisie, and my father was lost. He said, well, he worried about the length of the studies and said, don't worry, I will be self-sufficient, I will work. And then I decided to go to the medical school. And
but did he get to see your success? Did he get to see what you did, what exploration work you did?
Je comprends pas.
S'il a vu le succès que vous avez obtenu.
Oui.
Oui, il a vu quand vous avez arrivé au pôle Nord.
Oui, mais avant ça, il a vu le succès à l'hôpital parce que I was intern in surgery, bone surgery, and it was good because bone is mechanics, you know. Claro, huh? Yeah, I was very interested by that. And he appreciated, I was doctor intern in the hospital. He was proud of that, of course.
And the person who said you should do the baccalaureate, did this person get to see your success?
Yes. She's still alive.
How old is she now?
I think she's 92, 95. She's still alive and she's...
still bright.
Bright, yes.
Yeah, super.
I talked with her last year. And so she said, yeah, I know what you are doing, yeah.
What was the first expedition you did? The very first one?
The very first. Because I always said the first one was when I was 8 years old. I spent the night in a tent. That's what huge expedition was when I was 8. The first one was in 1975. I went to Patagonia. Yeah. Tried to climb El Cerro Torre. It's a very wonderful mountain. Difficult, but I didn't climb on top. And that's what the first one, because I spent 3 months making a hut, a cabin,
Yeah.
and fishing, and the real life, outdoor life.
Was it dangerous?
The mountain is dangerous, yes, but
Yeah.
most of the time was windy, cloudy, the weather was not good. But I very enjoyed this outdoor life. I was making bread, fishing, live outside. That was my dream. And I spent 3 months there in Patagonia. I really enjoyed that. That was the first one. And on the way back, I stopped in Rio de Janeiro.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, maybe there is some... It was a racing vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, maybe one need a doctor, maybe to fly, to race back to England.
Doctors are always needed.
Yeah, and I asked, no, everybody said, no, we have doctors, sorry, no. And at the airport, I met a famous French guy, Eric Tabarly, was a famous sailor. And I saw this guy and said, you are Eric Tabarly? Yes. And he said, well, what do you want? I said, what are you doing here? He asked me. I'm a climber and I'm alpinist. He was interested, but I'm an alpinist? He said, yeah, what are you doing? And I said, if you need a doctor for your next race around the world,
Here I am.
Mm-hmm. I will take the time. I can be efficient on board. And 1 year after, he wrote me a letter. If you really want to come, so I did the racing race around the world.
Around the world.
Yeah.
Because you just say it like in a sentence on the side. Around the world.
1 year.
So this was your second big expedition.
We can say that, yeah. Before that, I crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I was
It's kind of boring if you can do the entire world.
No, very interesting. I was doctor on the sailing boats with drug addict people to organize a rehabilitation. Yeah, so it was an interesting journey. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah.
How many months?
Altogether 3 months.
Did
Because
they
we
get out
didn't
clean?
stop. More or less. Some, yes. It's
The
difficult.
percentage?
The percentage is, we can say 10%.
Got out clean.
Yeah, because to cross the ocean takes one month, especially with this sailing boat. Was very slow, an old one.
Yeah.
And the beginning is difficult, of course, for those people. And then another life became, some of them at the end was healthy, clean, and ready for a new life. Yeah.
But 10% did get out clean.
Mm.
But that's not a lot.
Well, it's a lot. It's
Because
difficult.
I'm just asking myself, if they're on the ocean, where do they get drugs?
We are out, yeah.
So there should be more getting drug-free or
Yes,
reviving
but
drug-free.
there is not only a problem of drugs, it's a problem of kind of life.
Mm-hmm.
What to do. We are, yeah, and you have to take care of these people when you arrive at the other side. Take care, is okay now, is healthy, is ready to do something. And you have to help him to do some job.
Okay, and the question is if they're still clean when they get out of the boat without the protection.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, with all the expedition you did, you had a family, you had a wife, I suppose. Do you have children?
I've been the man of my life for 55 years.
Uh-huh.
You understand that?
Yes.
J'étais l'homme de ma vie
Yeah.
pendant 55 ans.
Qu'est-ce qui passait
So
pour changer?
I had the freedom to
Yeah.
to do what I want. I did so many expeditions, and I had the freedom to do it. And then, I have two boys now.
Yeah.
I got 2 wives, and the last one gave me 2
What did they
boys.
say when you said you're going to go on expedition?
Well, they know me before, of course. They know my life before. They agree at the beginning.
Yeah. And you going on that expedition knowing that you have children at home?
No, I have children. My children are very young. They are 14 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
Ulysse and Elliot. And we have been in expedition with the family.
To where?
To Clipperton Island. Clipperton is a very small, teeny island, very small, in the Pacific Ocean. And their English name, but it is a French island. And we did a census of the vegetation, of the marine life. We spent 4 months on this island. With Ulysse was 9 months, Elliot 3 years. So we did the expedition together.
What are you afraid of?
What I'm afraid of? I'm not afraid for me. Well, I have children, you know, and this is I realize it's a huge responsibility. This is I'm concerned by now. Yeah. More than me, you know. I did my life already. I have some other projects, but I'm more concerned by the future of my children.
When I looked at the videos about you yesterday, there was one video that really made me laugh because of the style and the class you have. They show how you get to the North Pole, to that point, and how you put the stick in the ice.
Yeah.
And you really get a bottle of champagne out
Yeah.
of there. That totally freaked me out. I looked at it like 5 times because I couldn't believe how much class a French person, I mean, you have to be French to have so much class, to get a bottle of champagne and put it in the North Pole. Of how many days? 63 days?
63 days.
You were walking, right?
Yes.
You were carrying this champagne bottle with you?
No. The
Oh, don't take my illusion. I love that idea.
It asks for the champagne. No, you know, it's 1 kilo, and it was better to bring 1 kilo of food.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I
ask for champagne, of
That's
course.
super. I like that so much. So what's your latest project? What are you doing now?
I'm working since 7 years on the next one. Yeah.
Do we need the globe?
Yeah, I'll bring to you
Okay.
things you will understand.
Yes. And the others?
Well, this is North Pole. We talk about the North Pole. You see, the North Pole is in the middle of an ocean. On the other side, the South Pole is in the middle of frozen continent.
Yeah.
If you look at the southern hemisphere,
A lot of water.
no, look at the northern hemisphere, you see continents.
Yeah.
On the other side,
Water.
is a huge ocean. And all the scientific publication ended by the same thing: we need to go there. We need in situ measurement, but it's very far. It's too expensive to manage a lot for a long period of time campaign. So I said, what kind of vessel we can design to stay on this ocean, self-sufficient in energy.
Yeah. But
And,
why would you need to go there? What do you have to do? Why do you want to go there?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, there is many interesting things. First of all, is this huge ocean. It's cold water, and the CO2, carbon dioxide, we emit in quantity, and is dissolved in the cold water. So what this ocean was role played this ocean in the climate? This is a very important question, and we're going to try.
Because you say the climate, the Earth is sick. It's in a sick state.
A chronic sick,
Chronic
disease,
Okay.
small temperature. You know, the elevation of the temperature of the Earth, the elevation 1 degree in 1 century,
years.
in 100 years. So you cannot feel it, but it's like the chronic disease. You know, you don't feel it really. You have 37 plus 1, 38. It's not. It's a small fever.
Yeah. And this is what's happening with the Earth.
Exactly.
actually.
Yeah,
It's
and
in a
it's
little
the
small
beginning of the
fever. Okay.
complication. That's where we are, and we want to know the role of this ocean. What the role of this ocean play in the climate.
And you need a special vessel, which is
Yeah.
another word for boat,
Yes,
because I didn't know what a
yes.
vessel is.
You heard about the roaring 50s? That's a place where the wind is strong. The waves are huge. So we need a vessel with a keel. We will have 80 meters below the sea level. You know when the wind blows? When the wind blows, when the wind blows, you have waves and waves, and then the sea is calm below 30 meters, for example.
Yeah.
So when you have a vessel with 80 meters below,
there's more stability.
it's stable, yeah. And this vessel is stable enough to offer the safety and quality of life on board of the vessel. Yeah, and it will drift. This is a current, a huge current, Antarctic circumpolar current, and we will start in the current, and we will circle.
How many people working on it?
7 people, 3 sailors and 4 engineers. We have a lot of sensors on board. It looks like the International Space Station, but there are very few people and a lot of sensors. Yeah.
How many women?
The first captain
will be a woman.
Yeah.
From where? From France?
From France, yeah.
And did you already get the money together for that project?
I got the money from the French government. It takes 3-4 years to convince the government to invest in this project. So the government will pay for to build the polar pod. The name is Polar, the polar region, pod, P-O-D. And the P-O-D means platform oceanographic derivant. It's a drifting platform. And the government will pay to build the... and I have to write the money in the private side to do the expedition itself.
And who invented the vessel? Who was the engineer? Was that you, or was it a team of people?
No, it's a team of people, one engineer, and he asked me to go in San Diego in California. I said, there is a vessel like this one, on the same ID. And the vessel, the name of the vessel is Flip. Because this vessel, that's the sea level is here.
Yeah.
So there is no engine, nothing. No, so we will tag at sea horizontally, and then we will ballast it, and then...
And what are they using it for?
And the US Navy built one of the kind of vessel in 1962 for the Cold War. They catch the sound of the submarine, you know, because it is a silent, 80 meters below sea level. And we will build it on the same principle. Yeah, we have been very helped by the American from the Scripps Institution. Yeah.
So now we know that one of your part is, or one of important, or maybe the most important part of your life is saving the world by setting up projects or getting scientific information. But I'm one of these, I like to sit on the couch and read book people. But I always also want to feel good and do something for the world. So what could I do to save the world? What could be my little participation? I don't want to go to the North Pole, please, to feel good.
We know today we have a problem with the energy, we have around the fuel consumption, coal consumption, yeah. And if you look at the globally, the Earth globally, there is many problems everywhere in terms of environment. There is a lot of plastic in the ocean, and the work is so big to clean the planet. So say, well, what can I do myself? The principle is to be efficient in your life, with your family, with people you're working with. Just start to be efficient where you are. That's the only way. You understand?
Yeah,
and if you do lecture, you are a media person, so you can explain that. For example, save the energy. So something very important, because the end of the fossil fuel will arrive, and we have to be ready for the next generation of energy, and not to throw the plastic to everywhere. I mean, just very simple things. And if everybody is doing very simple things,
then we get a big quantity.
Yeah.
How can you support people like Donald Trump, who don't care at all about the earth? How can you cope with it?
Donald Trump take care of the people we elect him, of course. Just that he doesn't. He has no idea. I mean, he has some idea, but he's politician, he's businessman, and he want to be re-elected, and he is sceptic always when you talk about the planet and the climate change, and he made a mistake. I mean, mistake, not a mistake, but he said, you know, last winter, it was very cold in New York, very cold in Montreal. And he said, look at this, it's so cold, and some scientists said we have the climate change and the global warming, but this is the weather, this is not the climate. He didn't mention that on the other side, in Australia, South Africa,
42 degrees.
42 degrees and dry. So when we talk about the climate, we talk the average temperature all around the world, not in that places. And nobody can feel 1 degree in 1 century. You feel the temperature this morning, tonight, but the climate is something a long period of time, you know. And this is a scientific measurement. There is this a reality. And Trump is interested by his re-election, and his idea are not really good. And said, well, the miners have to work. Mining is the worst thing for the climate. The coal is the worst, and so he doesn't take.
He doesn't care.
The problem is, well, he will stay maximum 8 years. We can say if he's re-elected. And the problem is he cut the budget for science. He cut the budget. That's a real problem.
So we can only hope that the next president will just put the money back again.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a major brutal change.
That's the way to be re-elected.
Yeah.
To give more money to the planet.
In your private life, are you surrounded by super interesting people as you are, or do you have some normal people that share a coffee and talk with you?
Well, you know,
I was wondering if somebody with that capacity of what you're having and that idea and that character, if you are bored very easily from other people.
No. You know, I have famous in France just enough to be comfortable. For example, you go to the restaurant, they say, well, it's full, sorry, it's full. And some people recognize you and they find a table for you. You know, that's comfortable.
Nice.
That's nice. And this is my level.
Okay.
You know, it's not a problem. And, you know, I've been medical doctor for 12 years. You know, I was medical doctor as general MD. And then I went to expedition. I was working 3-4 months per year, and then expeditions. As a doctor, I learned what life is. You know, you meet people who are famous, people who are engineers, people who are workers. I mean, you are in touch with everybody, and so I have a training to look at the soul more than the fame. You know, I was working with the Patagonia, the guy who was traveling with the when we crossed the Atlantic Ocean with the drug addict people, and the organization was this was organized by a priest, a moine, Jésuite. Jésuite, comment on dit Jésuite? I don't know.
In English, I don't know.
But you know what is a Jesuit? Yeah. And this guy spent all his life working with people like drug addict. And always he said, "Look at the soul."
Yeah, look at the soul, and when it comes down to health, we're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it makes me now I know working with him and working as a doctor. That's we all are the same. We all have the same problem. We have the same preoccupation, and it's made me feel comfortable for the others. Yeah, and when I was a doctor, I said, "Well, you have this, I can do that, but yourself, you have to do this. So we're going to work together. I can do that with some medicine, but you have to do this." Yeah, and when I know by experience, when you don't sit in your chair, nobody will come. You have always to be in action, and it's even when you have a passion, it's difficult. It's a lot of work. To be an explorer, for example, it's a lot of work. I work a lot.
Yeah.
It's not something more I want to go
No,
there.
you have to move.
You have to move. And when you do this, the life do the other part.
When was the first time that you came to Mallorca?
The first time I sailed, it was maybe 3 years ago when I crossed the Mediterranean Sea toward Toulon. I made a stop here.
For how many days?
Or for one night.
Uh-huh.
And I came here maybe 10 years ago to meet my friends, Kainata and Tikorn and Kendo. Mm-hmm. And they invited me to come for this vacation. Yeah.
And how do you like it?
Well, yesterday I discovered the island, and we travel along the mountains. We cross. Yeah, there is some lovely places, especially the cliff.
Yeah.
And this blue water.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful place. Yeah.
So you'll come back.
I will come back. Yes,
Good.
Natalie.
That is good. Well, what I learned from you is if you have a dream, you gotta move. You gotta have enough communication skills to get, if there's money involved, to get the money involved.
You have to work a lot.
You have to work a lot. You have to do a lot of networking.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking what I would wish you for your future. I'm not going to ask you what are your dreams, because you told me about the project and you'll be occupied for some years. I wish you a lot of health, so you can keep doing what you want to do. And I'm very grateful and thank you that you took the time on a day where you're leaving back home to Paris today to talk with me. And now when I go home, I will keep researching about you, because yesterday I didn't have enough time to see everything. The day just has 24 hours. And thank you very, very much for that conversation.
Natalie, it's a pleasure to me.
Merci beaucoup. So, das war Jean-Louis Étienne, und ich bin noch ganz benommen und besoffen von diesen ganzen Informationen. Ich sage Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal, und jeder Leck ist anders. Ich weiß nicht, wer das nächste Mal dabei sein wird. Tschüss.